Welcome to the Better Barbarian Podcast, where men learn to reclaim their power, rebuild their purpose, and become the kind of leaders their families want to follow. Here's your hosts, Travis Brown and Will Palmer.
Okay, should we kick it off?
Let's kick it off.
Let's kick it off. Welcome to the Better Barbarian Podcast. My name is Will.
I am Travis.
Hey, Travis. So we are a new podcast called the Better Barbarian, and the idea is to help men become the man that their family and their friends and their kids want to follow. And it's really this movement of helping figure out how to reclaim purpose, deepen relationships, strengthen faith, and lead with grounded confidence. I think all men hear those things and say, that sounds cool. That sounds great. I already do that. But does your heart say you do? Does the joy in your life in the moments you try to make say you are living that way? And typically they don't. So you and I were texting this morning about what was on your heart for a topic today, and you were talking about a song.
Yeah, there's a band called Need to Breathe, and this song, there's actually a pretty fantastic version of it that's acoustic out there. If you ever want to, it's like I think they do it, it's in like just on the streets in New York, which is kind of great.
That's great.
But Need to Breathe, they have this song called Brother. And so in the song Brother, some of the lyrics are just like really speak to this and kind of the way by which you kind of fortify your life and set yourself up for a life where you can do those things, where you can lead your family, you can lead in your community, and you can do so with kind of like a group of brothers around you. And so I know we'll talk a lot about that today, but so great that so it's a couple of lyrics. So it starts off that we are ramblers in the wilderness. We can't find what we need. We get a little restless from the searching, get a little worn down in between. And then then it kind of goes on a little bit more about that, and then it goes into everybody needs someone beside them, shining like a lighthouse from the sea. Brother, let me be your shelter. Never leave you all alone. I can be the one you call when you're low. Let me be your fortress when the night winds are driving on. Be the one to light the way and bring you home. And so there's a whole bunch of other really fantastic like metaphors and stuff, are obviously way better when it's sung by an incredible vocalist.
Hey, you're an incredible vocalist.
Yeah, it could be. I mean,
I could make you sing a quick note.
Face down in the desert now.
Get it. Let's go.
Got the cage locked around my heart.
There it did. See, this is it.
But I'm inspired by these guys. And this guy named Gavin DeGraw jumps in on this one version that I just love. But it has such a powerful message. And this is where like faith and science collide, like merge and weave together in a good way.
Yeah.
And so we won't talk a ton about that, but those are the areas where I usually like perk up and start listening when faith and science are like in lockstep and are like certain that the information is clear, that this is the way.
Yeah, it is fascinating. And I think what you're saying with all of that is the men around you shape who you are and how you show up. Just a fact. And so this episode is the men around you are shaping you. There's like 5 parts. We'll make this under an hour. So we're going to talk about just recognizing the isolation epidemic that men are experiencing right now. We're going to talk about some things you and I have done and how have we connected to really amazing men, because it does take work. That's the theme in this podcast. Do the work. Nothing great is easy in this life. And then what are the signs that you need better men around you? Like, what are some questions you can ask yourself? And if you answer honestly, can say, hey, maybe I'm in a deficit here. And then the last 2 are, well, then how do I find this stuff? Is there a Bumble app for cool guys in heterosexual intimate relationships? I don't believe there is. And if there was, no one would use it.
That's true.
Including me. So, And then the last thing would be some challenges that we would ask of you. We're going to challenge you today.
Yeah.
And it's not it's to challenge ourselves as well, because when I quote unquote teach this stuff through this content like you do, I think about it during the week. I think, is the guy showing up right this moment the guy I'm talking about on this podcast? And if it's not, maybe be aware. So let's just go into like this idea of isolation epidemic. I mean, what are your thoughts on men having fewer close friendships now than they ever have? Is that real?
Man, I feel like it's kind of been active pursuit of deep, vulnerable relationships is already, based on, like, if you even go, you kind of think about that barbarian image. That's not necessarily something that is perceived as masculine, is a deep, vulnerable relationship with another man.
No, that's unacceptable.
Yeah. You don't you don't see the, gladiator or warrior or the barbarian who's conquering all of a sudden be like, let's chat about how that conquering made us feel. That's
I know I broke your left arm in half. How are you feeling right now? And was that traumatic? Can we relive those moments through some therapeutic?
How can we find a way forward?
Yeah, I'd like a way forward, please. Yeah, this is true.
Yeah,
this is true.
So the isolation of, and then you start adding in, you start adding in the C word, COVID.
I love talking about that.
So COVID, and then you have social media, the influx of, all these things you can, endless entertainment. That's actually good, for the most part. So anyway, all that to be said, the stage is set for some really quality isolation.
Quality. I mean,
you
can sit in your house. Yeah. You can DoorDash your food. You don't have to go to the grocery store.
Yes.
You can work from home remotely. You don't have to be in an office. You can see your family when they're there, but that's not other men. And then we're basically left with all the small talk we'll get into in a minute of surface level stuff that does not make us feel any different, better, or worse. It's just part of how you have to interact with other men. So I feel like that's true. I think it's fewer friendships. I feel that myself. I do not by default go seek other men, texting them, calling them, setting up a time to hang out with them. And I know that, and I'm trying really hard to fix that. So most relationships are around sports, work, politics, drinking, golfing, and men will not admit this to themselves, including me, that we crave to be challenged, not on the golf course, but in life. Like, challenge me on a deep level. We crave a mission. Like, what's our mission and purpose? We crave brotherhood. We crave accountability, and we crave being known. And that's the big one for me. If I were to highlight it, we actually crave being known. And most of us do not allow ourselves or open up to even get the opportunity to be known. And Melissa, just this week, I shared this on LinkedIn. Today's Wednesday. Monday, I was having a really tough day mentally. A lot of stuff going on with the business, a lot of things coming at us that just can easily move into anxiety and fear, because you're starting to predict the future in your mind. And I literally was at my desk having a moment, and I was like, man, this feeling sucks. I can't shake it today. I'm going to tell Melissa this. I never do that. I texted her and I was like, I'm having a tough day. And I explained the reasons, and I just want you to know that I'm struggling. And her response, which didn't surprise me at all, I just never give her the chance to be there for me.
Ooh.
And I know we're talking about other men, but I never give her the chance to be there for me. She's like, I would love to help you heal. I would love to be the person you lean on. You do not let me do that. We don't do that with other men. So this is kind of like a parallel example here with my wife. But she responded with an image, and I can't remember it exactly, but it's like, peace. To get peace, you have to have faith. To get certain things, you have to have other certain things. And I wish I could remember it, but I read that and it just was like, she's right. I'm thinking too much, and I'm getting I have to get out of my own head. So I'll quit the tangent on that. But I think that is an example, I guess, of being known that's really on my heart right now, because I felt known and seen, and that cured me of my fear, because I shared that with my spouse or share it with other men. So here's what we'll wrap up on part one. Why do you think men, like I said, I just turned 40. You're a couple of years older.
Another age that's higher than 40.
Closer to.
Don't you say
it. It's closer to a different thing. But why do men? Why do we get? When we get older, I feel like we isolate more. 100%. Why is that happening? Why do they isolate it? Why are we isolating as we age, do you think?
I think we're, I call this like a lot of it's like proximity or convenience relationships. And so if there's somebody like around us, whether it's work, client, could be a baseball, softball, whatever, sports activity dad who's in close proximity for a long time. And when people are done looking at their phones and they look up over a time and they're like, well, there's a dad.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, there's a call we both disagree with, or there's something we both agree. What a beautiful choir or dance routine. Or perhaps we are trying to figure out where we're going to look because it's a bunch of people dancing in very small outfits and it's very uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable to be watching
at kids sports or just...
Yes, at kids sports. Okay. Yeah, at the kids sports. Sorry, not to like.
Well, it's odd that they're there for that. I don't know what that means. But that's in distracting. We could
really
agree.
Strange scenario. The picture that I'm painting, which is common with me. So, but that's the thing, the proximity or convenience friendships. And if you don't have a thing that night or you don't have a thing that day, then you're like, well, I'm not interacting with another man. And then if you do have that thing, the men you're interacting with are not necessarily by your choosing or intentional, or to say, hey, I want to interact with this person to have like a cooperative like growth situation going on where they're pouring into me, I'm pouring into them. So that's kind of what I think. And so from an isolation perspective, it's like I think a lot of men aren't intentional and don't take intentional steps, even though they're uncomfortable. And sometimes you're going to face rejection. But in this specific situation, I think that isolation, not only the external environment really helps with it, but then also when we are out and about among the people, a lot of times it is just I'm friends with who I happen to be near.
Right.
And that's not always great.
Not always. And you're talking about being proactive, and besides being aware that maybe I am isolated, it's not going to do anything, because I've been told that a lot, and I'm like, yeah, fine, maybe I am. Like I'm just going to go about my life. You have to really feel pain before you take action. I guess I'm hopeful that somebody listens to this and says, you know what, I don't have to feel. I don't have to wake up one day realizing I'm drinking every night, realizing I'm doing other bad habits, and realizing, the eulogy thing, who's going to speak at my funeral. How painful does it have to be for you to ask those tough questions? It doesn't have to be. You can actually improve your life and create way more meaning now without waiting for those really hard rock bottom, so to speak, moments.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think we've done some cool stuff in our journeys the last few years on creating those intentional relationships that I think are worthy of sharing, because it's really proof of how does something we've done change not only our lives but other men's lives. And isn't that cool to be like, hey, I'm changing my life right now?
Yeah.
And I might even be changing other men's lives. That might not be something you woke up one day and be like, I'm going to change other men's lives, I'm going to change my life. You work, you go home, you find some cool chick to marry, have some kids, and like you stop asking those questions that you maybe asked in college. Where do I want to take my life? So like decide where you want to take your life, but like you have several things. Me, of course, I know you well, but people that just know of Travis Brown link you as a person and as and your identity to certain things you've done that have grown through effort and time. And I could think of like 2 or 3 right off the bat. So maybe we could talk about like Purpose to Lead, Bro Grow, some of the other stuff you do around Freedom Hoops or other community things. And then even our relationship. Like, what do you do to get out of isolation?
So, okay. I don't know what it was. It was like this kind of aha. And we talked about it a lot before some of these things launched, where it was like, wait a sec. it was odd. It was like we would sit. I remember specifically years ago sitting in your backyard, kind of by the fire, and like just thinking about how lucky we are to have a number of really strong guys in our lives. And like,
Yeah.
and then after sometimes you don't realize until you start talking to people. And I have a couple people very close to me, and I had started talking about these types of things where you're like, you could say you are the group of people you surround yourself with, or you are your community, you are your, so, but it was crazy because I had multiple people say, well, I don't have 5 people like that, or I don't have this. It doesn't have to be a number. It's just like, I don't have a number of people that are like that song Brother describes.
Yeah.
And I thought, man, that's concerning. And so I thought, I really thought like there's some people I know around us who don't have that. And I thought that's wild. And then from that, from that birthed the first it was Brother Grow, which we both love basketball.
Mm-hmm.
But I started to realize as I've gotten older, like I cannot hang my satisfaction on whether or not I hit a certain number of jump shots, because I can't actually really jump that well anymore. As much as I work so hard to be able to jump and run and all that stuff. So like, I really come to this point where I'm like, wait a sec, like, what if, like really there's more to me. There's more to it than if I shot well or played well. That's crazy to think like. So it was really about like, that's why it's called Brother Grow, because it's about like, we're going to do more than just play basketball. We're going to grow on and off the court. We're going to build a community, and we're going to connect, and we're going to get before and after and during, and we're going to get guys to connect. And it started you and a couple other people. It really started with this, like, I want this, we really wanted this thing to be really cool and big, and like where you could post things about what's going on in your life and connect and grow. And like in the beginning, it was like one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, well, I guess there's at least 2 people here.
Yeah. So let me pause you right there.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
No, I'm not, because you're going too long, because I want people to understand you had something on your heart that we need to connect more with other men, a shared interest in basketball. And I do recall like, hey, Will, hey, Doug, hey, this, that, and the other. Do you guys want to play basketball on, I don't know, whatever it was, Tuesday evenings at this gym and just connect? Sure. I would love to do that. And usually it was 2 or 3 people for like a couple months.
It was it was like, man, this is a long time with very few people.
But what happened is then you knew this thing was on the calendar, and you knew, it's something people had interest in a little bit. And then you started, hey, this is a neighbor, this is a friend, this is a coworker, this is a parent at school mentioning this thing. And I think it started with neighbors, and then I started mentioning it, and it just was a way to connect deeper. And then more people started showing up, and just like a quick time frame, like in 36 months, describe the ripple effect of just having a conversation outside of sports and work and kids. Like, let's talk about the numbers, growth. Mm-hmm. Like, what has happened?
So there's well over 200 guys that follow the GroupMe chat.
Yep.
And then during certain periods of time, especially when it's not beautiful outside, we'll have to run 2 full courts, and then we'll have to cut it off at 24 people. And so it's kind of wild to think. And we're I'm so lucky to have a local school where my kids go, where we have access to 2 nice gyms and 2 full courts. So, but yeah, to be able to run 2 full courts, to have people connecting on and off the court, and like growing deeper in their relationships and meeting new people and new areas. Some of the stuff that's come out of it are people who've only come a few times, have come up and been like, I just wanted to let you know that I am this many days sober from porn. And just wanted to let you know that I really appreciate not only you, but a number of the other guys who have posted and made like this like outward gesture that like I just thought that was so awesome.
Yeah.
And this is like I couldn't believe it. They walked up to me,
That's wild.
and they've only been a couple of times. Then another guy has never been. I added him from the very beginning, and he goes, would you, he goes, would you not take me off of it even though I never come? He's like, I just like,
Wild.
like, I just like watching the conversation and like seeing what's posted and stuff.
Right. Because
And so, yeah, so that's kind of like, oh yeah, we had a guy who kind of a gnarly injury, compound finger fracture situation, but he works with his hands.
yeah, not good.
And so we went ahead and, I mean, we raised enough to pay for almost all of his rent,
Dude.
for the time that he was out,
Crazy.
which was so wild.
Because he said yes to this. Here's what the picture I want to paint to bring that home. You created this group, you grew it, and you started a GroupMe group called Brother Grow, Bro Grow, and basically, when men show up to basketball, we start at 1 typically, and probably 110, 115. You say, "Hey, come here, everybody. Let's circle up," and 20, 25 guys circle up. And you stand in the middle of a circle, and with your gifts and your confidence in who you are as a person, share positive affirmations as about the group, about life, about each other. You challenge us with things to think about. And these guys, a lot, I would say the median age is probably mid-20s. There's some guys that show up that are in their 50s. There's some guys that show up that are like sophomores in high school. A lot of mid-20s. And we've been through a lot of crap in life and can share this with people. And so GroupMe has people like Anthony or myself or Brooks or others that I can't remember that are sharing something, a lesson. Like I got on there one time and was like, here's some things I've struggled with. Porn addiction. Here, I'm in active recovery. I lead a men's recovery group for that. Other things in life where drinking has been tough for me or other addictions, and just been like, here's what I've done to overcome those things. And other guys are doing that and receiving these messages. So I would say, since we have a few more parts to get to, and I can talk a little bit about some of the things I've done, but there's two things. You don't have to go be a Travis Brown and say, oh, I love basketball, I'm going to like start this ground roots movement to try and get hundreds of guys to follow this idea of connecting. That is not the ask. You also might just be waiting for the moment where somebody invites you to something, which may or may not ever come. And that's not the ask. Although if you are invited to something that in your gut is going to say, oh yeah, that sounds cool, I'll let you know, and never let that person know, you're just not putting yourself in an uncomfortable new position because growth could come out of it. So if you're asked to do something, I would encourage you, if it aligns with this stuff, to probably say yes to it. But the other thing is just getting yourself in the spot to be invited, or to ask the question of somebody of like, hey, we talked about this, I think last week. You said, tell me something about that's going really well in your life right now that's exciting you. What's like exciting in your life right now that I wouldn't know? And you would probably answer that Brother Grow or Purpose to Lead, which, again, another group you started that is a faith-based professional peer group of men that really hold each other accountable to personal and professional growth. How you show up for the holidays, how you show up for the summer, how you're going to lead your business and your family in congruent ways. And so there's just so many of those things where if you care enough to seek it, you'll find it.
Yeah. The crazy thing is, the brother situation, so the idea was, I really think this is something important. This is not like, I think this should happen. And then without you, it was like you, Doug, maybe Chris. I mean, there was a number of people who were like, when is this happening? And they were like, cause I was like, oh, I think I should do this, think I should do this. And you guys were just like, we're going to meet. It's happening. And then all of a sudden it was like, now it's a thing. Now we're rolling. Now we're going. And it was like, yes. And then it was like, so it took a number of gifts in order to get it there.
Yeah,
it really took a number of people coming together and saying, I want to go in this direction too. So anyway, I agree with you. I think getting in those spots and having those conversations and learn what drives people and what they're interested in and whatever it may be gets you to the spot to where you can be like, oh my gosh, do you have a basketball group?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you hoop?
You hoop, bro?
You're a dad that hoops?
Because I'm tall?
Maybe because you're a little taller.
I even say that. I'm like, listen, you know you're tall. I know you're tall. I will just ask you based on that fact alone.
Yeah.
Do you play basketball? If so, I can't tell you how many dozens of conversations in men and husbands or dads in our kids' schools. I mean, you know this because there's probably half a dozen that show up consistently. Yeah. Maybe not that many, but yeah, I think you're spot on. So,
I mean, it has to be said that I invite my neighbor and his son, and then you invited a friend who is my neighbor's brother.
Right.
And they have no idea that either one of them is playing in this thing, which is incredible.
Didn't they show up on the same day? They're like, what are you doing here? Brother, bro. And they're like, dude, I'm just around the right guys.
Biological brothers living less than 2 miles from each other show up with no idea that the other person is coming to play in this basketball. It was great. Yeah, it was like, that is evidence of like getting out there and putting yourself out there. And that was what a great situation.
Yeah, man. And I post some more vulnerable things on LinkedIn sometimes about struggles and stuff. And I'll tell you this too, as a small example, following the right people on LinkedIn or within your community that you sense are on a good path. You know, Tyler, our friend, who's one of the brothers, you know, I could list other names. There's at least a dozen where they've not engaged with a post. They're not liking it. They're not commenting on it. It's not driving a profile view, but they come to me when I see them next and inevitably are like, dude, I watch what you do on LinkedIn because I'm not on other social platforms. And I want to say this thing you said about this thing really helped me that day. And they tell me that. And I'm like, I had no idea you even saw that. That's incredible. The only other thing I want to say before we go to like, what are the signs that you need men around you? We're talking in general, like, hey, it's really good to have other men around you because then you can combat isolation. You can feel good about the impact others are making on you and you can make for others. But there are some deeper things in men's lives that they really struggle with outside of just having better and more male relationships. And let's talk about addiction for a second, because we haven't talked a whole lot about it. We've peppered it in there, but my story is centered a lot around addiction and a lot around the most shameful form. And there's a lot of forms of addiction. There's drugs, there's hard drugs, there's alcohol, there's porn. And that P word is scary, but I want to talk about just for a minute what happened with a group for me that put my life on the right course. So it could be anything you struggle with. Maybe it's your consumption of bad diet. Maybe you're addicted to like working out, or maybe you're just hiding your feelings all the time and are addicted to isolation. And if it's bad enough where your life can blow up from it because of what you're hiding or your lack of vulnerability or sneaking drinks or acting out to pornography and not pointing your sexual intimate energy towards your spouse, towards other stuff, where you gotta make a big drastic change. And the group that will help you make those drastic changes is so critical to the success of those changes. And here's my story and why I'm saying this. A little over 4 years ago, my life blew up because there was discovery around porn and stuff like that. And essentially a full disclosure of all of the things that I had been hiding, like this alternate reality that I had created in my marriage. And the day after this discovery happened, before all the disclosure happened, we were at dinner. Melissa had found some stuff, asked me about it. I lied to her face a few times until I didn't. And I was like, okay, it is what you think it is. And that cracked open all of the trauma and the fear of who am I married to if I don't know this side of him. And the next day, that night I Googled, because I was like, I don't know if I just blew up my family. I Googled like men's recovery groups for porn addiction, saw the church we happen to be attending have one, which is no surprise. It's a big Methodist church.
Mm-hmm.
And Church of the Resurrection had one. And I showed up the next night, absolutely crumbled to the ground. I was sobbing. I showed up surrounded by like 10 other men I never met, telling them I just got caught with a porn addiction and I think my marriage is over. And I just showed up sharing that, crying, and I was like, that's it. That's all I know. That's all I got for you guys.
Yeah. What do I do now?
What? Yeah. Right. What the heck do I do?
What the hell do I do? I can't talk to a bunch of people. You know what I mean? Like, you didn't feel
who am I going to tell that?
Hey, who am I going to tell that to?
Hi, Mom. It's your son.
Yeah. Hey.
Here's what happened. Or Dad, or Pastor, or neighbor. Yo, Jim, dude, come here while I'm flipping these burgers, dude. I don't know if you look at porn like 88% of all men do and do it so much and lie about it. Just got caught, big dog.
Just got caught.
So yeah, don't do that, right? Doesn't happen. So I go to this group. These men have all been on a very similar journey to me. Some were married, some were divorced, some were whatever. It doesn't even matter. But they saw me. They loved me through the terrible mistakes I had been making. They didn't judge me whatsoever. And they just were there to love me because I could not love myself in that moment. And 4 years later, I would say there are a few times I miss. I probably there 85% of the time, every single Thursday night for 4 years to hold me accountable. And then the last like 18 months, I lead the group now because I've learned enough and gone through enough to where I feel like I can lead that group. So my point is, if you are struggling with something really deep, go find the help you need. It's there, and you will be approached with, I assume, love, grace, acceptance. You just have to trust and believe. Yep. So let's talk about some signs, and maybe we could just pose these.
Which that was, I mean,
quite a lot.
I just love it.
I mean, there you go,
man. I just love it. I think like, I just want to let you know, obviously, like all these guys that we know who have been more vulnerable and open to talking about it because of your vulnerability and your goal to help others. It also has helped me improve my relationship with my wife and experience intimacy in the way that it was intended to be experienced. And so, like, anyway, just to let you know, like, I was like, what I'm consuming often is like not positive. Like when you think about what I'll call, and this isn't like all about this, we probably ought to do a full on pod about this, but it's just like you've helped me grow as you've gone through that journey. And as we've talked through and been there to support each other, and you've helped me like eliminate some things from my life that I was like, wait a sec, this is very socially acceptable. The TV MA, the Netflix, whatever it is, all these shows that are revered and award winning that have moments that are, this is basically accepted porn.
Yeah. It's like Game of Thrones type stuff.
They're accepted, you know, and you're like, and then is that moving me forward as a man? And is that moving my marriage forward watching that?
Yeah.
And no, it's taking my mind, my intimacy brain off of the one it should be focused on. So anyway, all that to be said, I'm not the only one, but I am the one that you're talking with right now.
That's right.
And so I just want to that's the impact of getting outside your comfort zone and seeking to de-isolate with intention. And that's the impact of not only improving yourself, improving your marriage, improving your kids' lives and those around you, but then also a bunch of other dudes. So now it multiplies. Now it's, if there's 10 guys and now those 10 guys are helping other 10 guys. If you think a couple years ago, fast forward, it's exponential impact. The number of people who have actually been positively impacted by you just Googling and just going.
That's wild. Never thought of it that way.
Thousands of people, and then their kids. Think about any of these of your groups, like think about their kids' lives, and then their kids.
Yeah.
Right. So now their sons are less likely to struggle with porn, or if they do, they're more likely to collaborate or seek help. Or anyway, so this is a lot of stuff that you don't even think about when all you're thinking is, I need to get out of isolation and I need to go find a group to surround myself to help me through this.
Man, that's good stuff.
Woo!
Well, I appreciate it. And
Boom.
You're right. Yeah. It's so crazy, man.
Yeah.
And so that's the testimony, and that's the cool thing. Woo! I don't know if I should try that. I got to do some.
Yeah.
I gotta have my nasal strip on. I can't breathe. Okay. I love it, man. And I think that's all really good stuff. And I feel like, the point of us saying that is about de-isolation, but I also want to make sure men, it can be the P word, as I used to call it, is a very scary word. So before we turn a bunch of guys off that are like, wait, so you're saying I'm not doing it right if I see watch Game of Thrones, I'm not caring about my wife? That's bullshit. Mm-hmm. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is that God created us heterosexual men to be attracted to women. There are beautiful women out there. We will always think they are beautiful, and that is not wrong. And there are things on TV that we will see that aren't going to go against our marriage vows unless you're like masturbating to it or hiding it and things like that may not be pointing your sexual energy at the right spot if you're lusting over it and taking it too far. So just being aware of that's what we're saying. We're not saying like, oh, you have a problem when you see that. I know that's not the point you're making. I just want to be crystal clear on it.
That's a good clarification, because it's like, hey, guess what? Like, it's I think that's a really great clarification.
Now, if you're in active recovery for porn addiction like me, different set of, I don't like the word rule, but different set of goals. I am not going to allow myself for those things because I have been an addict of porn for 20 some years. So
I will, just this phrase or just this little quip or whatever. We had a couple in Arkansas when we lived there, Ginger and Terry, and they were married for a long time and like led our young couple honeymooners or newlyweds group. Ginger said one time, I may notice, something like, I may see him glance, but as long as I always have his gaze, as long as he always gazes at me and not like an image on a screen or somebody walking by and barely nothing while they're running or something. It's like, so long as his gaze returns to me and is always on me. And I think that could apply to what you consume on TV or what you see out in public in a night or something like that. That can apply, because it's like, that's the thing.
Yeah.
If
the filter
grabs your gaze and takes your gaze away from your long, deep look, away from your wife, that is the thing.
It is. And I could do a whole podcast on lust and what is it and how do I know it's happening and is it okay and what it means, but we won't get into that today. But you are spot on. I love that. I love the way you framed that, because I think that's a really good litmus test for guys.
Speaking of
litmus tests,
easy ways to identify.
Yeah, great transition. All right, signs you need better men around you. We're just going to state these because we could discuss each of these for 30 minutes. We're not going to make you listen to that because we got like 10 minutes to get through a couple more things. So 1, nobody challenges you. I have to say something really quick on this. Any crazy thing in my life that has happened, somebody has said something that was a challenge. And it's something that, I'll give you one quick story. I was 1 year out of college, moved to California, was doing sales for ADP. My manager at ADP, his name is Nate Jack. Hell of a man. Still have a relationship with him today. He would go on ride-alongs with me in the field. And he one day said, like, hey, do you believe in God? Like, literally, that was his question. I was like, yeah. He's like, and he just started talking about faith. And then he ended up officiating my wedding years later. And I remember that moment like it's burned into my brain, where we were, the restaurant we were in, getting meatball grinders, the table we were at. I see it right now because he challenged me with a weird question. And that has helped me grow in faith. So is nobody challenging you in your circle? and saying something other than surface level, there you go. You want to go to the next one?
Yeah.
Same thing, actually.
Yeah. Nobody asks hard questions.
I love that. That's so great.
Yeah. You talk about, let's say you're with a group of friends and you're like, oh, my wife's on my butt about this, or my wife won't stop doing this. No one asks you the hard question. Well, why does that bother you so much? Or like, what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, crap. I just wanted to gripe about my wife and temporarily soothe something that's deeply impacting my marriage.
Yeah.
Could you just listen to me?
Which they'll do, but
but they should be challenging you too.
But going deeper. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Constant isolation. Do a little mental time audit. Are you ever hanging out with guys outside of the golf course, the bar, the bowling night, or whatever, or your kids' stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Is there any intentional time is what I get out of that?
Or are you deep in your, you clodding?
Your cloud,
you got
your
your vibe coding, because the time, I can't let time go away.
Man, I got
and
MCP servers to set up.
Daily credit max.
Yeah.
I got to max every day.
Hitting tokens.
I'm building. I'm over here building.
Yeah. How many tokens you use today?
I don't know what's happening with my family or my relationships with other men, but I'm building.
Yeah. Secret struggles is the next one. Just spoke about that.
Secret struggles.
Yeah, it's gonna get every episode's gonna get a little weirder and weirder.
It's not actually that of a happy thing.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
But we could say we could make us secret struggles, mighty struggles. We could. I got a guitar over there. I could barely play. I can get it out. Shallow friendships. We talked a lot about that. What's a shallow friendship? I think we all know, if we're being real, what a shallow friendship means.
Yeah.
Don't lie.
Mm-hmm.
Be radically honest. No accountability.
No accountability.
Do you offer me accountability?
Oh yeah.
With what? Be real. What do I need accountability for? Like straight up.
For you, it's what you identified as. Sometimes you will isolate when something's going weird. You'll go quiet.
Me?
Yeah.
I isolate? I'm the one on the podcast. I don't isolate. What are you talking about?
You will go, well,
no,
all right, everybody needs to remember, like, I have a certain level of connection.
Yes.
And it may not always be so comfortable for everybody.
It's true. And even my business partner knows it. He's like, dude, you got to communicate stuff to me, to your wife. Like, why are you not communicating to people?
They go quiet.
Why are you going quiet?
Men go quiet. Yep.
Drifting through life. That could mean a lot of things, but we already discussed that on the front end. Don't drift. That ain't fun. Don't be a tugboat bobbing in the waves. You need to be a lighthouse. So how do we find okay, so let's get to the practical how-tos. We got about 5 minutes left. How can men find growth-oriented men? Practical framework. You find brotherhood through repeated, intentional environments. I mean, it's just pretty simple when you just call it out. It's not like magic silver bullet. How do I find environments of growth? By going and finding them. Yeah. And stop not caring that you don't have that.
Yeah. What would you do if you were in sales, or what would you do if you were a business owner, or what would you do if you were going to go and I want to do this DIY project at my house? You would go and get the materials needed in order to reach that goal. You would go and connect with people in order to reach that goal. That's what you do.
That's what you do.
You do what you already know how to do. You just apply it to this thing that kind of makes you feel a little uncomfortable.
Yeah. You saying one vulnerable thing and asking a vulnerable question will open up all this stuff. Yesterday, we're doing instrument tryouts for my 10-year-old. There's this guy with this crazy tattoo on the back of his calf that says 500K and 100K and then 50 miles and 100 miles. And I'm like, hey, sorry to bother you while you watch your kid try to play a viola or something. But I noticed, like just your tattoos. I'm a new runner, and we started talking about running, and then he ends up like inviting me on some stuff he does to run. And I'm like, dude, because I asked him about a tattoo. Be vulnerable. Okay.
Yes.
Practical ways. So I love this. It says we have decided to say, join something before you feel ready. Why do you have to feel like your life is crumbling around you for you to do something really cool, like a men's retreat, a church group, a recovery group? fitness community, martial arts, like getting to become a jujitsu bro, coaching communities, rec leagues, volunteering. The point is, Brotherhood rarely comes looking for you, as I mentioned earlier. You might get an invite, probably won't. If you do, it's gold. If you don't, go find this stuff.
Mm-hmm. And the first time you ask somebody, I honestly am trying to think about, for probably 3 to 5 years, I asked I was trying to find Brother Grow. For 3 to 5 years, I was trying to find it. And then really out of like, I had to go and like, so it's not going to be immediate. It's not going to be like you might have to where like, oh, do you guys do this or do you guys do this? So like, nah, not really, whatever, maybe. So anyway, yeah, you got to like keep going.
There's
you can't
song.
just
There's a great Christian rap song called "Keep Going."
Keep going.
Keep going. Go Google it. Yeah, I think that's true. So now you're okay. So I'm looking for a space. Now, how do I know the space is right? And this is defining what a place is where growth is expected. And here's the values of a room that you can think about. And if these values exist, it's probably a good place to be. If it doesn't exist, think about, does it add value to your life, or is it turning you into somebody you should not be? There's a lot of guys in my life that I don't hang out with a lot because they take a wedding ring off when they go out. And that's been a lot. But there are guys like that in their 40s. Not, I mean, that's an extreme example. But if a room values honesty, leadership, growth, discipline, faith, accountability, you will have change. And that's what you can think about.
Yep. And then the alternative is, if we value complaining, not venting, we're going to have some like venting, right? We're going to process, but what's the follow-up after it? Are we piling on? Are we riding that downhill? We riding the crap downhill together and ending up in a place that's like, how long are we going to hang out in this victim? How long are we going to hang out in this bashing our family, our wives, or whatever it may be? And like, no, a great group goes the other way. We turn it the other way. What are we going to do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. It's true. So here's some other ideas. And then there's one last concept I think is really cool. So the other ideas would be like finding monthly breakfasts. I had one of those forever at church every week. Weekly workouts, basketball runs, cigar fire pit nights. Totally cool. Throw some bourbon in there if you like to have some bourbon. Not saying you can't. You have to be like a nun over here.
Yeah, you don't have to.
Book discussions, prayer groups, hiking groups, which I have a new one of those in my life, a camping group, and accountability calls. And the last thing on this, on how to find this stuff, be the first one to go deeper.
Yes.
And I think that is if there was one thing I could have people do, it would be that. And say something you would normally not say. I went deeper yesterday with a simple text to Melissa saying I'm struggling. I went deeper yesterday by pointing out this guy's tattoo because it seemed to align with something I had interest in, running. And he opens up to me about his running community and how he learns community. And that is a very easy way to be the first one to go deep. We say deep. It just means ask some cool questions. You don't have to be like, hey, tell me about are your parents still alive? Like, don't be weird. Just introduce yourself. Be the first one to say hi. That's what we can do.
See the trauma behind your eyes.
I see. Yeah.
I can see it.
I'm been watching you and your wife interact with a wedge between you two.
Yeah.
Let's
not have a wedge.
Talk to me about that wedge.
Let's pull the wedgie out.
Let's get that wedgie out.
Yeah.
I'm going to help you. Okay.
So,
maybe it's just to introduce yourself. Leave it at that. Be the one to introduce yourself.
Hey, how's it going? And don't overthink it. Just think like, okay, what's everybody going through? Like, let's say, hey,
dude,
how are you balancing all this stuff? Like going into summer. I mean, how are you balancing like the kids and work and so don't overthink it.
Don't overthink it, dude.
Yeah.
Just introduce yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. Last couple minutes here. Here are the tough questions we're going to ask ourselves and people listening. The big idea is strong men are rarely self-made. They are forged in community. And we can talk biblically about how God created all of us to be in community. You could even go back to Adam and Eve to point to that, and vulnerability, with the fig leaves, and then they ate the apple and then they were covered in shame. I mean, there's so many things you could talk about with this, but the big idea is that community matters. It will always matter as a central human theme, and men are not good at it, women better at it. So the questions to ask yourself are who are the men in your life that are shaping you right now. And it could be for worse, it could be for better, or it could be no men except yourself. Those are things to know and really identify with. Are your friendships making you stronger or weaker? What does stronger or weaker mean? You're not doing a workout group. We're talking about, are you being more vulnerable? Are you pushing through fear and discomfort? Or are you doing the easy stuff, numbing and drinking, hitting on chicks at bars, acting out to porn because you and your buddies know it's okay, or whatever? Like, there are guys in your life from college or high school that just live a certain way that you probably go out with and feel like, man, this doesn't feel aligned.
Yeah.
Think about it. You want to do the last three here?
Yeah. Who truly knows the real you?
Oh, so good.
Oh, yeah.
The real you means take the mask off and be like, the real me. There's not a lot of people that know the real me in my life. For men, you're probably one of three. But you need one, at least one.
Oh, yeah.
Not everyone has to know you have struggled with a porn addiction.
Yep.
Even though now everyone knows because this is on the internet.
Yeah,
cool.
Well, at least a few.
Yeah. Well, if they want to know, they can find out.
Yeah.
But you know everything. And when you don't know things, you are lovingly disappointed that you don't, because I don't give you the chance to be there for me as well.
Yep. Next one. What environment are you repeatedly entering?
No.
What is that environment? And again, going back to stronger or weaker, is the environment making you stronger or weaker? And then where are you hiding? Where are you hiding? Where is this place, or what is the thing that you're hiding? And man, that's a good question. And that
scary question.
That among these others, that is where you probably need to point your intentionality and your attention.
Yeah. Scary. That's the work. Let's end with these last four. We're going to give you 4 nuggets. I'll read the first 2. You can read the second 2. But isolation is comfortable in the short term, for sure. But it is deadly in the long term. And if you just believe that, know that, be proactive in it. And then every man needs brothers willing to challenge him, encourage him, and refuse to let him stay stuck.
You were never meant to become the man you're capable of becoming alone. Because you think, like, as you're listening to that, you're like, what does that mean? And then alone, bam.
Alone.
Yeah. You're not meant to do that alone. And then brotherhood might be one of the most underrated forms of healing in a man's life. Can you believe that it's literally sitting there waiting for you to leverage? Most of the time it's free. All it costs is an intentional first step. All it costs is just going and wanting it. And then whether it's you're called to by your faith, that's 1. 2, you watch Blue Zones on Netflix, and it looks like the top 10 places where people live the longest, they got some brotherhood and community happening, and that's a key part of it, as studied by science. Yeah. So science and faith both say brotherhood is where it's at, and it's an underrated form of healing in a man's life.
Believe it.
Yeah.
And trust it.
What more can we show you and tell you to convince you to get your butt in community and find some brothers?
Don't hurt me. You want to step into your greatness as a man? Yes. This is what it means to step into your greatness. Go get it. Go do it. We believe in you. We've done it. You can do it too.
Yep.
We'll talk to you guys next time. Peace out.
Thanks for listening to the Better Barbarian Podcast. Be sure and check us out on YouTube or social media, or head to thebetterbarbarian.com and join our community of like-minded men. See you on the next episode.